As a prelude to the main summit, over 70 senior government officials, civil society organizations and members of the business community gather here at the Marlborough House for a conference tagged Tackling Corruption Together.
Mr. President, should Mr. Cameron apologise?
President Muhammadu Buhari joins them as the keynote speaker. He says under the rule of law, he will fight corruption even if his feathers have to be ruffled. He wants the repatriation of corrupt proceeds and calls for international anti-corruption infrastructure to trace and return stolen funds.
This evil practice is manifested in the plundering and stealing of public funds, which are then transferred abroad in secret accounts. I therefore call for the establishment of an international anti-corruption infrastructure that will monitor, trace, and facilitate the return of such assets to their countries of origin.
It turns out to be an interactive session, and many would want to know if the Nigerian president will demand an apology from the British Prime Minister over his sweeping statement about corruption in Nigeria.
I'm not going to demand any apology from anybody. What I'm demanding is the return of assets. I have already mentioned how Britain really led and how disgraceful one of the Nigerian executive was. He has to dress like a woman to leave Britain and leave behind his bank account and fixed assets, which Britain is prepared to hand over to us. This is what I'm asking for. What would I do with apology? I need something tangible.
Speaker after speaker say that endemic corruption can be wiped out. According to them, corruption is man-made and it is within man's capability to end it. Hence the gathering in London. Chukwuma Onwekusi in London for Channels Television News.
All the same, back to you in our Abuja studios. Let's allow Buki Shonibare conclude her thoughts on her comment concerning the promise made by President Muhammadu Buhari on the release and rescue of the entire Chibok girls.
Thank you. So like I said earlier, if we have to hold on to that presidential promise that was made on May 29, then we should expect to see results from it. Where if we are saying that we have won the war, what's the success metrics? What yardstick are we using to measure this success? Are we saying that one critical metric would be, according to this promise, the rescue of all of these girls? So if I have to go back to my experiences in going to Chibok and what the parents are expecting, it is that bring back our daughters, but don't just bring them back alive. I have to say to you, with this news that came out about some of these girls that went to Chibok for Christmas, some of those parents, all of the parents came out because they thought that, it's all of their children that have come back to do Christmas. So that's to tell you that there is huge expectation in that regard. Secondly, is to say that with the spotlight that Chibok has had to gain in the last 3 years, one would expect some level of development, community development, something around education. The schools should be rebuilt. Not just the school where the girls were abducted from, but all other schools that are there. There should be proper functional hospitals for the population there. There should be good roads. There should be access. There should be water. So one would expect that we could use Chibok and all of these other communities that have been ravaged as a symbolic representation of how communities should be. We need to do that. We also need to make sure
use that symbolism. Sorry,
Buki,
let me come in here again. I'll have to go quickly to Fatima-Zahra Omar. Let me use what Buki Shonibare has said as, a form of symbolism. You have just returned, earlier on we spoke, you have just returned from some other states in the north. Perhaps you should be worried about some situations there. What are those things that really bother you that you would love to see the government handle head on in 2017?
First and foremost, I am very worried about the attitude this government has had towards rehabilitation and reintegration of internally displaced persons. Like Buki pointed out, there should be education. Most importantly, there should be infrastructure, there should be social amenities. I just concluded a tour of some northern states, and the truth is that things could be better. We have low education rates, and this translates to extremism because people are growing up. There's a whole generation of young people who are growing up with nothing to do. So if a crazy preacher appears somehow, somewhere, they will definitely follow. We have a huge youth population that is uneducated, unskilled, you know, and they have no future, they have nowhere to go. So I was really expecting from 2015 to see a change in attitude from the federal government, from the state governments when it comes to educating our own people. And unfortunately, the story has not changed much. We are hoping that in 2017, this government will be more serious about educating and getting skills for our young people, because it's really like a ticking time bomb that you have swaths of young men and women who are just roaming about aimlessly. They are not going to school. They are not learning any skills. And we expect to have peace. It's not possible. So to answer your question, I would really like to see in 2017 more seriousness towards education, towards skills acquisition, towards social amenities and infrastructure. I understand that in this 2017 budget, about 450 billion naira has been voted for infrastructure and capital projects. Unfortunately, in 2016, about only 25% of the budget was released. So hopefully this year we'll see a more serious approach. We'll see at least up to 70 to 75% release of these funds so that work can start and people can actually start to see the change that they voted for. The government has done well in terms of security in the north. I'm from the northeast. I know what used to obtain last year, the years before, and this year there has been a lot of improvement. People were able to
I think I'll have to quickly come to Lagos.
So I must commend this government for.
Thank you, Fatima. Let me quickly come to Gani here in the studios because we're almost rounding off the show this evening. Speak more to your expectations of the government in this 2017.
More seriously, again, I think even in such ministry as health, the
health ministry,
the reoccurrence of such diseases as Lassa, fever, polio, coming back, is not something that excites me, and we want the Ministry of Health to be more serious in that area. This cuts across all ministries. If you also go to talk of the agric, this New Year, we didn't have such sale of the produce, farm produce, with the monumental amount invested in that area. We have not seen such investments coming out as almost gifts. I mean, produce to be sold at very cheap rates. But you see, another reason why we are going through all this is because Nigerians must, maybe at this point in time, even beg the ruling party to also try and reconcile the bickerings, because I think we are suffering from this as well. Apart from, and I must say this, apart from the mindset that I will come into this government and I will deal with the people who contested against me for so many years, times didn't allow me to be president. We now have a situation where, with due regards to some
was there a place he said that?
No. See,
it's an assumption.
As a politician, I have to say it, that we knew it. It was also part of our calculation that, I mean, it was not going to be very easy for the PDP, because the person who is now the president here believed that for so many times he suffered defeat. And now, two is that we're also very unfortunate that the people we have now, with due regards to some of them who are performing, that's talking about the ministers now, we have people who I can say are not, I don't want to say rookie, but in the placements, they are not the best. Nigerians have better persons that can manage. So we need, look at the finance ministry. For God's sake, Madam Kemi Adeosun may be good as a person, but it's not fit and proper for that place. this economy is being destroyed.
So just quickly close now.
So
that
it is also not good for us to have such big ministries, 3 in particular, put in the hands of somebody who is not even an engineer. And these are 3 engineering ministries. So are we giving all these ministries to people to compensate them for how much they contributed into we becoming the president? So I am saying that, in a nutshell, Nigerians should be prepared to give the type of support, like prayers, for this administration to survive. Because if it does not survive,
I think it's a fine place for us to rest it. It's a fine place for us to rest it, Gani Taufik. Many thanks, and it's good to think that you said something about prayers. I'd like to thank our ladies in Abuja. Many thanks for finding time in your tight schedule to be with us this evening. Fatima-Zahra Umar and Buki Shonibare, many thanks, and it's a delight to see both of you this year, 2017. And as Gani did say, talking about prayers, the English hymn writer and, of course, theologian Isaac Watts has had his hymn, rehashed, and it's been trending here in the country, being led by Nigeria's vice president and former heads of state of government, talking about that hymn. It's a fantastic one. It tells you about the spirit of national unity, the importance of prayers, and how it is for us to see that these gentlemen are still very much around with us. And it's a delight to know that they all have that unity of Nigeria at heart, and we're hoping that younger generations to come will also see that in the years to come. I'm Sulaiman. Many thanks for watching.